Good afternoon, everybody. I forgot to press the live button then. Just wait for it to catch up with the YouTube stream. See how much lag there is. Bloody hell, that is a long lag. That is nearly 30 seconds of lag there. Bloody hell. Well, good afternoon, people. Welcome back to Grumpy Old Git in the Corner. Rob, Lee, Stitch, Vippy, good afternoon, guys, and those that are in the background as well. I know there's people that just like to sit in there and listen. There's also some that listen while they're working. So those of you that are on the road, be careful out there. Thank you, Rob. Rex, good afternoon, mate. It's trippy outside in red and purple. Yeah, it's kind of going reddish here. Because I'm looking out the back window. The sun goes down at the front, but afternoon, Murph. But yeah, it's getting very reddish out there, even if I don't look through the ring light. But what's been going on this week? I mean, with the votes on the immigration bill, Roland getting ripped to shit in the questions times. But they're still coming up with some harebrained ideas. They really are. Apparently, it's been confirmed now that the body has been found in the river was it Nottingham, wherever the lady went missing. And they've announced that they're not looking for any third party. So they're pretty well convinced that there was nobody else involved. Moo, good afternoon, mate. Welcome. Yeah, very sad at this time of year. I'm not going to make any predictions, but it's either going to be an accident or suicide, I think. It does smack a little bit of the Nicola Bulley case, but there are things that are a lot different. Stuart B, good afternoon, buddy. How are you doing? But yeah, very sad. And then we get again to another one lost in the channel, with one still in critical condition. Now, apparently it was the French lifeboat or whatever got to them first. Now, they said there was 60 on the boat. One died, one's in critical condition. Now, the English Channel at this time of year, especially with these type of tides, that boat must have been very, very close to them, i.e. escorting them, because they would never, ever have pulled the other 60 or 56, 58, whatever it was, out of the water. They wouldn't have been able to get there in time to save them. So I can more or less guarantee that that French boat was on the scene when it happened. Need more sharks in the channel. We have got them up there, Rex Sniffer, but unfortunately they're not the ones that like the taste of human flesh. You'll be surprised at what sharks do get up there. I mean, great white sharks have been spotted and filmed off the top of Scotland around the oil rigs, or what they believe to be a white shark. It certainly looked like one. Poor beagles are regularly around our coast. They're a very close cousin to the great white. We've had thresher sharks. We regularly get mako sharks off the coast, usually down West Country way, but they certainly have been spotted along the west coast, the south coast. And people don't realise that they are there. I mean, you know, there's white sharks in the Med, there's white sharks in the Atlantic. There was Phil Britts, who was a mate of mine down in Cornwall, skipper of Rebecca Kate, who has fished out in places where they do regularly see and catch white sharks. And he swore that the one he saw off of Cornwall wasn't a poor beagle shark, it was a great white. So now Phil's the sort of guy I would believe in him. I would believe he knew what he saw, although I wasn't there. And there aren't no pictures to corroborate it, unfortunately. But Phil is an experienced fisherman. Tony, good afternoon, mate. They are, Rob. They're very, very misunderstood a lot of the time. I think it's just because of their size. They do more damage. They're not the shark that attacks the most by any account. But they're the one you certainly hear the most of when they do. I want a king cobra. Whoa! Yeah, we're still getting tuna now every year off Cornwall again and off Wales. They used to be quite prolific off of Wales at one time. I believe the British rod caught record was caught up round Anglesey, if I remember rightly, by a woman in a little rowing boat. Yeah, bull sharks do, Rob, especially because they're more prevalent in the estuaries and they can tolerate quite a bit of fresh water. And obviously, that's where people like to swim. Tiger sharks are more deep water, but they will go after people out there. But they're a lot more docile. The worst ones are the reef sharks because they just go into a frenzy in a pack of several hundred. If one of them gets hold of you, then basically you kiss your ass goodbye. Only dogfish. Cat sharks only. Bullus, doggies. And believe it or not, the hounds, Lee, I was just going to say, they're classed in the same company as dogfish, as cat sharks. The first true shark really is the taupe that we get here anyway. It's coming to a lot of places, Rex. A lot of places are fighting back against it now. I've heard of cameras being cut down in other cities. They have got a similar sort of scheme in Birmingham here, but we don't drive into the city. I very rarely go into the city. In fact, next month, because I'm getting the train down to meet up with Rev and Dan, is the first time that I've been in the city since I went to college, which was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Something like that. And I'm getting on the train. I haven't been on a train for probably 25, 30 years. So that's going to be an experience. Yeah, I mean, places like that, Lee, you can catch them off the beaches. And for those of you that like to go to Spain, Italy, Greece, beautiful warm Mediterranean Sea, don't forget there's great whites in there as well. And they've been known about for years. When they do the tuna round up there, they quite often get them in the nets. Same with the Canaries off Africa there. You go swimming off the beaches there, you'll quite often see nets and buoy markers. And yeah, there are white sharks around the Canaries as well, all the way up and down that coast, which I totally forgot about when I was swimming off the beach at Fuerteventura outside the cones. Are you coming over for Christmas, are you, Murph? I will be opening the panel in a bit. So, but this is another one today. I mean, you see the bloody notes I got in front of me. I got enough here that I could have put a video out today, but where they're gonna talk about blocking kids under 16 from social media. Now, the Rev talked about this briefly on a live earlier on today, and to be honest, what he said, I had written down here, and I'd written it about 2-3 hours before. But it's a double-edged thing. Yes, absolutely, the kids need protecting, and this is what the new online safety bill was supposed to be for. But it needs the platforms to react. Now, Ofcom are setting the rules, apparently. They're going to be telling social media what they can censor and what they can't. But so much gets through now. You know, you got porn bombing. You got these adverts where there's nothing but a half-naked girl on there. We know kids can get around security. They can set up all sorts of profiles. They're far cleverer than I am with the bloody internet, that's for sure. Even the young grandkids here are far better at it than me. But surely, if these platforms and the police can pick up somebody who's just said a hurty word, why can't they pick up the predators, the perverts? Because they're out there, and they've got to be easier to find. It's because they're not concentrating on looking for them. And I don't think banning them under 16s from there is going to do any good at all. They've got to go the other way. They've got to look at the ones doing it, not just ban the kids, because then the others will just run rampant. But then I've got it in my head, which is a thought that I had. Ban kids from social media under 16. Well, is this because they don't want them to be hearing the truth, seeing the truth about what's going on in the world and in this country, because it interferes with their indoctrination? Sorry, just let the cat out. She's not been very well lately. And are they trying to stop the kids seeing the truth? So they've got a blank mind to infiltrate. You know, that's just a thought that came into my head. No, it wouldn't, Stuart. I mean, we've seen what they've done to the kids over the last few years. Now, Sunak announced the other day in his questions times, we've had the best results ever in education. So many schools have come out of special measures. Those that were getting low results have all of a sudden got decent results. And then I thought back to what he said earlier in the year when they were taking exams and shit. Yes, they're going to be better results because they lowered the fucking standards to reach those results. That's why all of a sudden they're higher, and they're praising themselves for it. It's not because education's improved. It's because they lowered the standards you need to reach to get grades. And that is the only fucking reason. So again, you know, they're using malinformation. Yes, there are better grades, but they're not telling you why. They're just saying it's down to them. Yeah, of course it is. And this is how they twist things. You know, like the figures on immigration. They were caught well out on that. They were trying to push the ones that were sent back to Albania, Romania, and places like that as part of what was coming across the channel. Well, most of those had come in by other means. They were found to be unsavoury or criminals, whatever, and they deported them. Some of them came on holiday, never went back because they got family and friends here. They're putting the wrong figures to the wrong events, and that's how they're twisting people. We know they don't tell the truth. They never will. And they've never fulfilled the promise of being a transparent government on anything. Yeah, parents, that's what I mean. I mean, the kids have so much access to everything nowadays. Now, you know, the two youngest ones, the grandkids here, as I say, they're far better than me. Now, if they got locked out of summer, they would have more savvy about how to get back into it or circumnavigate it than I will. You know, they've been brought up with computers and the web where some of us haven't. Some of us had trouble using it normally for what it's supposed to be used for, but that's just me. Yes, Lee, she does. She does spend as much time as she can with the grandkids. If the opportunity is there, it's taken. Me, I enjoy seeing them when they come here. But there again, I'm a typical bloke and I enjoy seeing them when they walk out the door. Hence the grumpy old git. But they're getting a lot better. They're very well behaved most of the time. It only takes me to raise my voice the once and that's it. They go off sulking into their various corners. But
at least they don't go crying anymore.
No, they don't cry anymore. Cat, you're going to have to learn how to shut that fucking window behind you. You know that. Because it's a council house, we're not allowed to put a cat flap in. So she doesn't often go out, but
she asks.
But she does ask. She sits on the windowsill looking at me.
Or takes you to the back door when she's feeling lazy.
But she's not been very well. She went to the vets yesterday. We've got some antibiotics for her, and she's got a bit of a lump on one of her tits. On her stomach. They've done some blood tests. We won't get the results back till next week, but hopefully there isn't too much of an issue. But she is getting on. I mean, she's what, 14, 15 now? 16.
Coming up 16 and a half.
16 and a half. Ooh. But
and she's been well loved while she's been here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Still say you love her more than me.
Well, there are benefits to both of you.
Push me out of bed to make sure she's got room.
Well, I was going to say it's nice to have a choice of two pussies, but no, that's not the sort of conversation for a Friday afternoon. That's for Sunday nights. Oh, okay. Yes, sure. Again, they're going to let them bring a certain amount. Obviously, if someone's got a wife, if they're a bit of an older student, then obviously they'd expect to be allowed the wife and kids if they've got them. In that case, I wouldn't have a problem with it, providing they can support themselves while they're here. We should not have to support them. If they want to come to this country for an education, they support themselves. But it's the extended family that comes with them, and then obviously a lot of them don't go back. But they seem to be, a lot of the ones now, they're trying to clear the backlog on the waiting lists for immigration, and it just looks like they're literally signing anybody's. I mean, you know, you've seen how many of them have popped up working on security, on hotels and the like. That they're all immigrants themselves that have been blocked past on the badge, and they should never have them badges. There's no way they'd have passed the test. Phil, good afternoon, mate. Thank you for dropping in. Jason, welcome, buddy. Yeah, it's they're desperate. They fucked the thing up. They're clutching at straws. They're panicking. We all know the Rwanda plan's not going anywhere. It's just an exchange system that's cost us millions of pounds. No, they don't display the badges, Rippy, and they're supposed to, and they can be fined for it, and they can have their badges withdrawn. All you got to do is report them to the SIA with photographic evidence, if possible. And there are two types of badges. There's public facing, there's also in-house. If they're out dealing with the public, then they're supposed to have the supervisor's badge, I believe, which is the public facing one. They're two different types. Well, there's quite a few types, but they're the two main ones that get issued. Ow, you bastard. I've got another shock off that lighter again.
Told you to bin it, not refill it. Don't moan at me.
What's one of the people? Yeah, this is the thing, Lee. I mean, right from the beginning, I've never bothered with anything. I live my life how I want to, and I've lived it by my rules and within the law where needed most of the time. Not so much in my younger days, but in the latter years, absolutely, we have to. But when the law's getting that ridiculous, then you've got to stand up and say something. Like, you know, we're a proud nation. We've got a proud history. Some of it is a bit dark, but I'm still proud of history. I'm still proud of this country. But when it comes to the fact that I can't walk down a street flying our national flag without some little jerk in fucking uniform or somebody flying another flag taking offense to it, and I'm the one that's got to take mine down in my country, as far as I'm concerned, they can go fuck themselves. You know what I mean? You know, how would they react if we went over to their country and started walking around with Union Jacks there? Shit, the outcome would be a lot different to what they're getting here, wouldn't it? And yeah, a lot of Europe now is fighting back against it. Several cities in America now are actually pulling the pro-Palestine down, not because of what they stand for, but more because of the flags annoying people. It's the war isn't in this country. Why protest here? If you want to protest against it, go to your own fucking country. You know what I mean? You probably wouldn't last 5 minutes there. but I don't dive into that too much on here because obviously there's certain subjects that they're starting to pull people down for, and that's why we try and keep it to a reasonable level on here. Yeah, exactly, Para. Exactly, mate. And there's a lot of countries out there that are exactly the same. Yet they expect to come here and fly their own flags and do and say what they want. We have to abide by their rules and laws out there. They should do exactly the same here. I mean, France brought the one in for the hijab, didn't they? You're not allowed to cover your face. Sorry, but law trumps religion. If they say you can't wear it, you can't wear it. Yes, Stuart, that I have noticed that on a lot of the videos. And most of them look like the twats that are stood there with the Just Stop Oil as well. You know, garbed out in their clothing and jackets that are made from oil, and their plastic bags that are made from oil, and their banners that are made from oil. Yeah. And when it's pointed out to them, they, oh, no. Oh, I'm like, fucking hell. You know, hypocrites, basically. You know, how did they get to London? Certainly wasn't on an electric train or an electric bus. It was probably on a diesel-powered transport or petrol of some description. And then they hold up the traffic, causing more pollution, causing more fuel to be burnt. And they don't see the issues with that. Yeah, but I'm a proud honky, Stuart. Honky and proud of it. Although in the summer you might not think so, the colour I used to go working outside all the time, but yeah, Stuart, and most of them are. I mean, you look at the ones that are on this just stop oil this shit. They're either retirees and pensioners that have got nothing fucking better to do, or they're these fucking far out there students that ain't got a clue about fucking life. Afternoon, hi box. How you doing? Yeah, that's what I mean. Hi box. It comes to something when you're basically breaking the law at times if you fly your own flag. And I find that very, very disturbing.
But only if it's one of ours.
Only if it's one of ours, exactly.
Complain about anybody else, it's a racial attack.
Make fishing line biodegradable for the sake of sea life. There are certain braids that will break down over time, but I don't know of one that actually breaks down totally, Lee. There was an experiment at one time of trying to make fishing line from hagfish slime because the tensile strength in that is almost equal to steel, believe it or not. Yes, Parrot.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, you know, you think of some of the laws where you can offend people around the world. I mean, is it shame Dr. Holman in chat, she'd know. I think it's one of the countries there where it's offensive to show somebody the soles of your feet. You know, it's not as if our laws go that far, to be honest. I mean, there are some in Italy where you can't drive bare-chested, you can't drive with flip-flops or bare feet. The flip-flops I understand because that could initially be a safety issue. But yeah, wherever I've been, whatever the laws of the land are, I've abided by them. Probably except for the the one in Sweden where you're not supposed to be in public drunk. I did break that one once or twice. Yeah, to be honest, Stuart, I've been looking for, you know, the little like a base with the two flags on. I've been keeping my eye out for one of them just to put it on my shelf with all my other little bits and pieces. You know, it'll very rarely be on camera, but I know it's there. Yeah, and the thing is, it's because of the way they deal with it, Murph. Now, you look at any other protest, and even with the pro-Palestinians, I will admit, because they've done a bit of it there, the police go in, mob-handed, hit squads, drag people out of the way. If you refuse to move, out comes a baton and the parva spray. Yet they allow these idiots to break the law because holding up the traffic deliberately like they do is an offence and even was before they brought in the new laws to deal with it. But they're all softly with them. If they won't move, Drag the bastards out of the way. Grab them by the throat, grab them by the scruff of the neck, just drag them out the fucking way, handcuff them to the railing on the side. They can't get back in the road. Yeah, the police will have loads of cases of brutality against them, but they don't seem to give a shit about that when they're having a go at anybody else, do they? Oh, yeah, you saw him up in Cumbria, didn't you? Yeah.
That's what I was saying, saw 2 last year. But I mean, it was only a few years ago. I saw my first shooting star. Likewise, the Milky Way. And nature, when you live in the Midlands, yeah, the shooting stars out, but there's clouds.
Yes, Tony. And believe it or not, the offer of a lifetime supply of film from Kodak to anybody that can prove that photograph was fake has never ever been taken up or proved.
No, but they reckon it was his wife.
Yeah, it could have been a double exposure.
No,
it could have been all
just the way
sorts.
she was standing in, and it was her back.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's never been proven what it is. That was quite away from where we go, mind. Yeah, exactly. It is. There's also a few UFO pictures out there and what have you, videos that are like that most of them have been debunked. I'm not talking about the military ones because obviously a lot of people don't get access to them, although they've been shown in public. Yeah, that's like me, Lee. I'd spent a lot of time in Cornwall working on the boats. One of the businesses me and my mate used to do was bait collecting, peeler crab, worm. We used to send them all over the country. We did have our own boat. I don't know whether my mate still got it, but we struggled. We just couldn't make it pay at the end of the day. So I sold him my half. It's a very hard life. You know, and that's without the dangers involved. But no, we like Cumbria. We're quite secluded where we go. The beach is literally 50 yards from the front door of the cottage. And if the shop's the nearest one, proper shopping, is probably 5-6 miles away. But it's nice and quiet, which is what we like. And then a bit of fishing involved as well.
But we are nearly 22 miles away from where the spaceman was photographed.
22 miles of it. Yeah.
Just Googled it.
My little researcher over there, look, she
likes to be quite away, and I'm like, well, I don't even know where it was.
Yeah, it was further up the out the estuary rather than up, I think, if I remember right.
It was Carlisle rather than which.
Yeah, Carlisle was in. Sorry, yeah.
It was between Carlisle and Port Carlisle in Burgh by Sands.
Yeah, it was. There were like marshes there, weren't there, as well, or something?
Just
that makes sense. Yeah. But you see, they're stopping the going back to the shit shower in power again now. A lot of the handouts they've been giving with the cost of living and everything, now a lot of that's going to stop next year. But at the moment, it doesn't look like they're doing anything to bring the prices down and the economy down. Back then, yeah, after Heather just said that it was more or less proved that it was her wife, but nobody's got absolute proof of it. Good afternoon, Dan. I take it you've been asleep then? But yeah, all this support is going to stop. So what's going to happen then? Well, basically, as far as I'm concerned, they've got everybody hooked. And if they want support and they want people to follow them and do what they're told, the only way you'll be able to eat is if they reinstate it. But once they've got you where they want you, as I've said before, they've got control of your finances, which they're trying to do now by invading your bank accounts if you're on benefits or a pensioner. See what I think. Where they're already controlling communications by censorship. When this new bill goes through, because it will go through, they'll be taking a lot more of our human rights away. Yeah, your patterns have gone to fucking down, honestly, mate. Mine are getting that way again, but mine tend to go in cycles. Like I'll spend a few weeks getting up real early, and then I'll spend a couple of weeks getting up late. Although I'm not sleeping, I'm actually resting. Right, before I forget again, let's get this sorted. That. Still having fun with all this tech. If anybody's interested as well, after I finish tonight, or he might even go up before, Rev's going live tonight, I think, as well, or at least he was talking about it this afternoon.
Depends how long it takes him to get
It depends how long it takes him to get the fucked up lorry home. He's had a bit of a nightmare, mainly down to Vosa. No worries, Dan. No worries, mate. Apparently, you could see them from down here, Lee, but where we are, that there's just so much light pollution, and there's, you know, buildings everywhere. Unless you're looking up at the stars, you don't see nothing out there in the sky.
Never seen the Northern Lights yet.
Funny enough, in the years I spent working on the boats as well, I'd never ever seen them when I've been out on the water. Resist, hello, buddy. But we were lucky a couple of years ago, as Heather said, she'd never actually seen our galaxy on its edge, where you see the dark both sides and the colours and that going between. And I just happened to step out the car one night. We used to sit in a special lay-by, not a dog in sight before anybody starts. We used to just sit there in the evenings and watch the sea, watch the sky. And all of a sudden, the clouds just opened, just for a few minutes. And I stepped out and looked up, and you could see our galaxy on its edge going right across the top of us in this gap between the clouds. And that was the first time she's ever seen it. But it was amazing that night. And again, after a couple of minutes, it was gone. The clouds were back over. And then I was hoping to see the meteors this week. We stood out there on one of the showers, and she actually saw her first shooting star. You know, her first meteor coming through the atmosphere.
But 2 years ago, when we were up on the Solway, there was a nice display.
Yeah.
I had one
Simon.
literally go from left to right across the sky, and there's a lot more sky up there than there is round here.
Well, look, I saw the time when she saw the first one out the back. I actually saw the biggest one that I've ever seen. Even when we've been out on the boats, because you see them all the time out there. But this one went literally right across the sky that I could see here, and it was still burning, sort of bright white.
And I was still in
when
the
it
house.
Disappeared. Hey, Resist, I didn't know you had a channel, bud. I didn't find it till the other day. You never said anything. I have subbed. And from the first video next week, I will put a link for you in the description, like I do with everybody else as well. She says she makes me seal stars all the time, Dan.
So I'll put regularly.
Literally, because it's the lack of the blood to the head, I start to go dizzy. But you got to know just when to use that and don't go above it. Because it's not the sort of position you want to pass out in.
It's all right. I'll be able to reach my phone. Donna's got a key.
But again, I've had a bit of good news today. Well, I'm taking it as good news. I had a blood test last week, as most of you know. And yes, my blood has thickened up again, the red cells. So I've got to go in next Tuesday for another round of treatment. What they've decided to do now is do a treatment every 2 months to keep on top of it. So at least I can get into some sort of routine around it, because it doesn't look like this test is going to happen anytime soon, because they can't afford the isotope, as I've said before. Oh, do you want to go out again? Oh, my Lord. Excuse me, guys. You've been a right little pain tonight, haven't you?
Just leave the window open for a bit.
Yeah, we'll let the smoke go out, won't it? So, yeah, hopefully I can get into some sort of routine with it. Obviously, they can't get rid of it, apparently. It's always going to happen. But they've got to find a way of controlling it. They are going to try and find what's doing it, but they don't think there's anything they can do about it. Yeah. Fast swung up with an orange in the mouth. I know. Yeah, resist. That don't matter, mate. And the fact that you're getting far more views in that than me, you know, there's no reason why I can't put you out there. When I first started up, that was the main thing I used to do, was promote other channels. 1 or 2 offered to promote me. But no, I've always been happy, as I said, with the people I've got in here. I've got a voice. People listen. I'm connected to 2 bigger communities as well, like Dan and Rev, which most of you in here are as well. So, but we need to put the voice out wherever we can. It's just that I've got a preference for trying to keep in touch with my subscribers and those that comment. Personally, which obviously, if you've got a bigger channel and you've got thousands of comments, it's virtually impossible. I bet that was a message to say, I'm
You've
live.
gone live.
Yeah. We've been on 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, look, there you are. You are now live. Something on there, low-income households to receive something. Contact an embassy, dove.uk. Why would I want to contact a fucking embassy? I ain't even got a bastard passport anymore. Wait. Oh, they do send some shit through.
Well, that wasn't long enough to do anything.
No, she's
You're just restless, aren't you?
She's stamping her authority. She won't stay out for too long, because you know what she's like with separation anxiety, and being she got fired off to the vets yesterday, and she's probably not happy about that.
Come on.
I haven't got the link. I'll have to open another window to go and get it. Otherwise, I'd put it in.
Link for what?
The thing is, Dan, if I ever left the fucking country, I don't think the bastards let me back in.
I'd make sure they didn't. What do you want to link for, love?
Resist's channel.
Yeah.
if you can put a link in the chat for me.
Of course, my darling.
Thank you. I love this having an assistant. Dan's got a Holly to do it. I've got a Mrs. W.
Here we go.
Thank you. Yep, that's if anybody wants to go over, resist. He gets the message out there. He's holding powers to account. Go give him a sub. Any channel that does that, I recommend them. That is worth watching. I mean, I did it the once, but that was only because it just happened to go off in front of me with the police. If I was fitter and in better health, yes, I probably would be out there doing exactly the same. But due to past injuries and health concerns, as everybody knows at the moment, I've got to be very careful what happens to me. You put my Only Dan's link on. Yeah, but that link's always in Pornhub anyway, ain't it, Dan? Nice one, Stuart. Well done, mate. Thank you. Yes, Parrot, it's going to get very interesting in January. And I do believe at the moment that they're letting other news stories take the forefront. Obviously, the missing woman in Nottingham. Yes, that needed to be out there as a major story. But they're putting up a lot of things now rather than putting out what was happening with the shit shower and that today, because that was the last PM's question times Wednesday. I did watch it, but it was just an absolute slanging match. And I mean, there were a few entertaining moments, shall I say. But the other one was, who was it? Oh, Penny Mordaunt, wasn't it? The 12 days of the SMP. 12 days of Christmas. That was quite a funny parody, really.
What was the last one? And a Jaguar.
Oh, and a dodgy Jaguar AV, wasn't it? In January, there's a lot of things going to be stopping. A lot of payments will be hung back and stopping. There's several new bills to be passed through, which we know they'll try and rush. You've got regional elections, couple of by-elections coming up through MPs that have either jumped ship or been pushed. You've got someone worse now coming into Wales than Drakeford, apparently. They were all glad to see the back of Ayatollah Drakeford, but it looks like the one they're getting in, I haven't heard who it is, but the word is that he's even worse. So you can expect to see the decline in Wales again. They just seem to be going rogue. Oh, hello. Bloody chat disappeared then. What happened there? It's probably YouTube again. Yeah, the Rev had a lot of problems with that earlier. Apparently there was comments going missing. So obviously the faceless cowards are active today. Translation. Yeah, Dan. Yeah, that's all they are, Tony. It's, you know, I mean, look at Khan. I mean, how you can have 120% turnout on an election. And apparently he's given them a day this year where they can travel ULEZ free. One day, apparently. Yeah, that wouldn't be at all surprised, Stuart. Well, the main ones in the main bench are more erections, aren't they? Well, if you ask them, Dan, they can't get rid of them. Look, you know, it's absolutely ridiculous. I would love to see the faces of archaeologists or anybody that survives and looking back at skeletons and what have you from this era, because they're going to be totally confused, aren't they? I mean, at the end of the day, I identify as is the same as saying I pretend to be, which is a bloody kid's game, isn't it? That's the way I look at it. And believe it or not, we do know, Heather more than me, we do know one person that has actually gone through the full lot, including surgery. Heather's talked about it before. I won't go into too much, but he's regretting what he did now. He doesn't feel like he belongs anywhere.
I bumped into him a week or so ago, and I use him because he himself doesn't know what pronoun to use for himself. Whether he said he, she, it, because he doesn't fit in anymore anywhere.
Yeah, it's
and they want to let kids do it.
Yeah, and this is a grown man, or was. And he's that confused about it. You think what it does to a young kid's mind or a younger mind. They are going to be so fucked up in the future. You know, and again, maybe this is why they want to stop under 16s looking at social media. Because that's the only place where you'll see people saying that what they're doing is wrong. Oh, pardon me.
What link?
What link?
What link do I need, Stitch?
Stitch. What link do you need? What link? Only Dan's page. Do you want to put that out? You'll have God bless being straight in that. Sorry, he's not in the room. I shouldn't talk about him. If you're there, Simon, listening. Oh, yeah.
Dan, just send it to me on WhatsApp, please, darling. No, bloke without a dick.
Yeah, if you got a dick, you ain't no chick. No matter what you pretend to be. Well, not yet, anyway. There was... Oh, it was in America. I cracked up when I saw the report on it. Apparently, some male, biological male, has sued somebody because they told him he couldn't have periods. And he took offense to it. That's how fucked up this world is. Unbelievable. Oh, my throat's getting worse again.
I love these. Have you seen these conversations where some guy is there in the room, doctor, and it's like, I'm a trans, I'm this, I'm that, and he turns around, okay, you work in an emergency. So if a man came in saying he was threatening to miscarry, would you treat him for the miscarriage? And the girl says, well, no. Oh. But he has a right to miscarry if he wants to.
It goes back to the Monty Python sketch, doesn't it? You can't have babies, but you can have the right to have babies.
Yep. Stan,
yeah.
We can call you Letitia, Stan.
But honestly, coming from a totally different era, this is all. I have to laugh at it. I really do. This wokeness, I have to laugh at it. It's Miss Carrie. Yeah, I've carried a few Mrs. Lee. I've left them to walk out by themselves afterwards when they can, but I mean, there was one point when I thought I'd had a baby. I was drunk. Basically, I'd had a crap in the woods and I'd shit on a frog, and its little legs were going like this. It looked like a little black baby laid on the ground. That's an old one, isn't it? Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it's. I mean, I still, I still say things as I see them. I did fuck up once in Lidl's. I only had a jar of coffee in my hand, and there was, I'll say to start with, a person stood in front of me with hair almost down to their waist, straight, quite a thin figure, and with a shopping bag over their arm. And all I saw was an arm beckon me in front. They had quite a lot of stuff in a basket, beckoning me in front of them. They could see I only had one item. So I cheers, love. And in this very gruff voice as I walked past, I heard, "Don't let the wife hear me call you, you hear me call you that." And I'm like, what the fuck? It was a bloke who had a bigger beard than me. And that was true. That isn't an old story that I picked up, because I came home and I cracked up telling the missus about it. I did apologise. You know what, Dan, I just mentioned to Heather, today's the first day we haven't had a delivery of any sort. Because obviously the daughter has all her parcels sent here, because there's somebody in all day, which is understandable. With Christmas, it's been like knock after knock at the door. And this is the first day we haven't had one. Oh, yeah, we did.
On first name terms with every guy.
Yeah. And it's great because they all want the picture of the parcel, so I always pose with it in the background. Thank you, Dan. The world ended.
I'm sure it'll be here tomorrow. I don't do cards. Not sending anybody a card.
I'll tell you what, Rob. The more I see AI and science fiction films and shit like that, I'm almost convinced we're living in a false world. We're just parts that can be vaporized at will, which in a way is what's been going on, isn't it?
Last year I sent Christmas cards when I helped Mother, and I had to address all her envelopes to people she didn't even know were alive or not.
I can't remember the last time I sent one. I usually give you one, don't I? The same one that I gave you last year and the year before.
If I can find where I put it.
Same with birthday cards. She's had the same Valentine's card for the last 4 years. Christ, that is still a big delay between StreamYard and YouTube.
Yeah, you just putting your can down.
Yeah, it was about 30 seconds when I started up. Parcel to my address got intercepted the other week. Yes, Stuart, a lot of me knives, not just the ones I used to work, ones for fishing, and some very nice collector's pieces, all within the law. They're all legal. I literally stopped ordering them because we know they're going to be picked up. And on occasion, they have sent me the wrong one. And there is a chance that now, you could get sent the wrong one and it could be an illegal one. They are bringing out new laws around knives again. They brought a few new ones out again. Was it 2 months ago? Obviously, the zombie weapons, they're outlawed anywhere now. You're not even allowed to own one. You're certainly not allowed to make one. But they are going a lot further with them. Yeah, I can understand why at the moment. But when you see what goes on in London and other places around the country at the moment, yeah, they're not lock knives. They're not pocket knives. Most of them aren't even kitchen knives. They're fucking machete and zombie weapons. And unless you're using it for work, there is no reason to even own one of those. Hi Boxer, zombie weapons are all these weird shaped swords and axes and stuff like that.
Things that really can do it.
Yeah, they're designed to maim and kill. That is their only fucking function. Most of them are made out of cheap, nasty steel, and if you try to use them in earnest, yeah, you're going to do some damage, but they wouldn't last as a decent knife. But
they've all got serrated blades and
yeah. It was that. What was that program that kicked it all off? The Living Dead. I mean that put crossbow sales out the window because one of the main characters. I never watched it. But one of the main characters always had a crossbow. And there was actually one company that marketed a replica of it from the show. But yeah, those sort of weapons, there's no unearthly reason to even own one. But they were popular. But I've never had one. I mean, I will admit I've got a machete out in the shed, locked up. It's part of what was my landscaping tools, and that's all it ever got used for. I still use it because we get brambles grow behind the sheds. So a couple of times a year, it's easier and safer for me to go in there and hack it down with that. And to be honest, it hasn't been sharpened for God knows how long. The blade's that much caked up with sap and stuff like that. Sorry guys, just looking something up here. Oh dear. I was going to say, can I send you a digital one?
Hmm?
You need a machete to shave me pubes.
Yeah, that's what I say. Just send it.
Shearing scissors. But if you just chat amongst yourselves there for a sec, I'm going to retrieve another drink. And on the way back, shut that fucking window because my feet are getting cold. Yes, your cat box is still down there, so yay.
Well, I might need it next week. I'm not rushing to put it away, love, in case she needs to go back for anything.
Nah. There you go, puss. Me and you waiting for results. And yes, I am drinking a Go Juice, but I didn't drink my quota this morning like I normally do, so I'm allowed one this afternoon. 10 minutes behind the chat. My mate is getting jealous because I'm having too much fun. Yeah, I don't know when the last posting date is. I think it's the 20th, isn't it, this year?
Don't know, with Christmas being a Sunday.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere it's the 20th.
It's going to be around then, yeah.
20th or the 22nd, anyway, one of the two.
Don't care. I'm sending it.
Need a beer today. Yeah, everybody has a beer, bar me. I am going to break my rule next year. If my mate comes up, I did promise to sit down and have a can with him. We haven't seen each other for a lot of years. So I will sit down and have a can of lager with him or something just for old times. But I've proved in the past, even though I've given up, yeah, I used to have the odd shandy after a hard day on the mountain bike. No inclination of going back for any more. Oh, I will say, guys, if there's anybody in here that follows me or watch my posts or comments on my posts on Facebook, if you're using a different name to what I know you as on here, if you can let me know so I know who that's coming from. Most of you that are in there already do. I know that. But my state of brain fade after the strokes and that, it does get a bit confusing when you see three different people, the same person on three different platforms with three different names. No, I certainly ain't going to drink a bottle of fucking brandy with you, Dan. I wouldn't even get as far as the camera, mate. I'd be flat on my face.
You'll drink the Coke.
I'll drink your Coke, yeah. I did have a bit of a chat with Rev this morning. I was on VC with him and some of the guys over there, having a bit of a laugh. Yeah, I mean, even Christmas Day or my birthday, I don't have a drink of alcohol. I'd rather have a can of that and an extra one of my meds. You know, just one of them will put me on the same level as everybody else. Well, until they fall unconscious. But
I don't know what I'm getting this year.
But
Kev's in charge of buying it on the way back.
Yeah. But we do have a routine here, as I said last time. Everybody comes over for Christmas dinner. We've got 9 this year. The 2 younger ones go off to their father in the afternoon. And then from then on, it's adults. And
silly games and drinking.
Silly games and drinking.
And you go upstairs.
Me usually upstairs laid on the bed watching telly because I'm too full of food.
Silly games and drinking.
Quit. Right. Chat, folks. But yeah, I mean, to me, Christmas is for the kids. I like to see their faces. And most of the time, I remember my face being the same when I was at that age. Although we never got the amounts and the things they get nowadays. But I remember we had the 3 of us. I was the eldest, then my sister, then my brother. And they bought us a bike, each one after the other, over 3 years because they couldn't afford to buy one each for the first year. And I was quite lucky. I was the eldest, so I got mine first.
Lee, you should be able to click on the video and click to live, and it should bring you up to date.
Yeah, you can scroll through. But again, I can remember it was the first year I started finding the delights of bourbon, if I remember. I was only about 16, 17, probably 16. I'd come home drunk, crashed under the Christmas tree amongst all the presents. They used to put all us kids' presents out under the tree. Afternoon, Birdie. And apparently I proceeded to open every single present to see if there was any more alcohol in any of them. And I remember Mother scolding me Christmas Day because she had to sit up all night rewrapping all the presents and trying to remember who they were for and who they were from. Now, if you were clever, Lee, you'd have scrolled through at half speed or twice the speed. You'd have been able to see what was being done.
Not a lot, mate.
Not a lot, mate. Not a lot. Just me waffling. I mean, the link's there if anybody wants to pop up on the panel. Obviously, if it's your first time, you're going to be very well verified. If I can't verify you, you won't be up. Obviously, unfortunately, we've got to do that for the sakes of our own channels nowadays. Always have mine with Coke or neat, pal. And funny enough, I used to have more Coke with Jim Beam. That was only because I didn't go a lot on the taste of it. How's you, Beardy? Apparently, the missus woke you up this morning and you weren't very happy about it. I can't remember what time she messaged me. I posted summer and you've been riding a grifter, the rally. Grifter, chipper, chopper, with a whole range of them.
I can't see Beardy, can I?
You can't.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, he's there.
It's all right. I've got it on top chat.
Oh. Yeah, that was our talk going down to Cornwall, Mikey. As soon as you cross the border into Cornwall, say, right, everybody put your clocks back 30 years.
But it got too commercialised, so I'll take him where I have to put the clock back 30 years. Actually, probably more like 45 years.
Well, do you remember when Cornwall got to the rugby finals? I think it was at Twickenham. There was coachload after coachload going up from Cornwall. And I always remember somebody sent me a picture of on the Tamar Bridge at Plymouth. Somebody had strung a banner across the lanes of traffic saying, well, the last one to leave Cornwall, please turn out the lights as we're not coming back till tomorrow. Yeah, they were, Rippy. They were steel. No alloy in them frames back then.
Too expensive.
I had an American one. Oh, well, I can't remember the make, but I can remember the model was called a Mobo. It was like an American version of our chopper, but it had the wheels both the same size.
Mobo.
But it had the big high handlebars,
Mobo
the sissy bar.
cycle.
The difference between it and the chopper, the gear shifter was still on the frame at the front, but it actually had 3-speed derailleur gears not centre pull gears like the original chopper had.
That's almost the same bike that what's
Evening,
it?
Sean.
What's his name? Stupid American with silly laugh.
Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman's
Yeah.
bike.
Yeah, very similar. Very similar. Because I remember I cut the sissy bar off, put some lower handlebars on it, so with its banana seat, it was more like a BMX bike.
But it's called a Mobo
Yeah,
cycle. So it looks like that's the manufacturer.
could well be. I mean, bloody hell, I was
There
what,
isn't any
12?
other name with it. That's what I'm saying.
The Tomahawk, yeah. That was another one of the range. The
By
rally.
Sebel. S-E-B-E-L.
Siebel. Yeah, we're absolutely fine here, Sean. Got me results back, and the doctor rang me today, the consultant, and they're going to work on now because it don't look like the tests are going to happen. So they're going to work on a 2-monthly program to extract blood from me to keep the cells at the right levels.
When you go in next, tell the nurse I've got a knife.
Yeah, if it's just a bit of bloodletting, she'll do it happily here. Well, I'd only been asleep for 2 hours. Not my fault, Mikey. She messaged me first. We were having a bit of a laugh. Yeah, we never had much move, but we were spoilt with what we had. And I know for a fact there was many a Christmas when my mum and dad went without to give us kids something.
And yes, I had a bike, but it was second hand. What no? But you never pulled a face in those days. It was a bike. It didn't matter whether it came with sparkles.
Back in them days, there was no turned up noses if you didn't get what you wanted. You were grateful for anything you got given. That's just the way it was back then. Yeah, if you wanted a bike, you had to go out and chip the stones, make your wheels. You remember the old bone shaker without the pedals? That was my first one. In fact, I've actually got a picture of my first ever bike. Well, fucking hell. All these steps to go through. There you go. There's me with my first ever bike. Or the first one I can remember anyway, or the first one I've seen a photograph of.
Chunky monkey, weren't you?
Yeah, right, chunky little bugger. And that was actually taken just behind that wooden fence. There was the back gate to the MG car factory.
That picture describes you to a T, because if I'm not wrong, pop the picture back. Is that a gun in your hand as well?
No.
Well, what have you got in your right hand?
Oh, I've got to go and find it again now. What have I got in my right hand? Well, we better have a look.
You would try and ride a bike.
We better have a look before Dan comes up with something else. I can't see. I can't zoom in because it just goes pixelated.
No, it looks like a water pistol.
No, that's one of my idiot mittens. You can see my hand curled up in the sleevelet.
Give me 10 minutes for the picture to come on me.
I haven't put it up. Hang on, let me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, of course I can see, doofus.
Well, I'm trying to zoom in to see what it is, but it's pixelated. See if I can zoom in any further. Yeah, there we go. Look, there's something hanging down there, and there's my hand up in there. Look, you can see my thumb. I have got something in my hand.
That's what I said. Looks like a water sausage roll.
I don't know. But it's in the wrong place to be anything rude, isn't it?
It's a stick. It's a stick.
But yeah, I've definitely
You're
got
holding
something in my
onto
hand there.
a branch or an arm of a doll or something along those lines. There's a bit sticking out that you're hanging onto. But I thought, yeah, that's right. You'd try and ride a bike while shooting a gun.
Yeah, that's what I think it was, Sean, because
Yeah, there's a mitten, but there's something in his hand.
all us kids had idiot mittens back then.
There is something in his hand.
Used to pretend you were the old wooden tops and things like that.
I'll have to get my brother to put. He's got all the old photos. I'll have to get him to put together a collection of me so we can have a giggle. It's got one of me at school. Oh my life.
Yeah, unfortunately, most of mine were left at my mum's, and I weren't allowed anything out of the house. So, so first drive-by. I'll tell you what, Rob, you don't know how fucking close you are there, because that wooden fence that was along the pathway, then you had a road, and then you had the cemetery wall. Now, all the guys that used to leave the MG factory by the back gate used to walk round in an arc, because I used to stand on the rail of the fence with a broom, and I used to try and sweep them, hit them with the broom as they come past. And they got this little trick where they used to carry sweets in their pockets, and they used to throw the sweets over the fence. While I was picking the sweets up, they could get by unmolested. In fact, I'm on a page from my old hometown where there are a lot of people older than me on there, and I'm going to put that in there because there's bound to be someone that will remember it. But yeah, I was well known even at that age. Yeah, I haven't got many of me when I was young, Sean. As I said, they were all kept at home. And until Mum's house was sold, none of them were ever displayed in the house, although my brothers and sisters were. And a condition in my mum's will was that I wasn't allowed anything out of the house. So all I've got is a few that someone got off my mum years ago to put This Is Your Life album for me. I think it was for my 40th or something like that. And sadly, they're the only ones I've got from the youth. And a lot of my racing ones and car ones I've lost over the years anyway. There is a mate of mine I'm trying to contact. I did get hold of him on Facebook, but I can't find him again at the moment. I've actually got one of his albums here, which was of his banger racing days with me that I didn't realise I had. So I'm going to try and reunite him with that. Yeah, it weren't so much that she was a bitch, Sean.
She had help.
Nobody really bothered with me. I did my own thing. And, I wasn't whiter than white. I was a pain in the ass. I was always getting into trouble. But I did my own thing, and that's all I wanted to do. And if I couldn't live there by their rules, then I went off and lived by my own.
But it was always about her and her daughter.
It was always about my brother and my sister, which in a way, some of it I understand. I was a nobody. Yes, I was a damn good car racer back in my day, but none of them ever come and watched me race, although the track was less than 10 miles from my house. But they'd quite happily trot off, my dad would, to watch my brother play football, who turned into professional. And my sister was in the army having bloody mess dinners and stuff like that. So they were off hobnobbing with them. The only thing, I'm trying to think, the only thing that they ever turned up to was when I won the darts finals. The finals night was held down at Abbey Hall in Abingdon. And because I had to play on stage for the last 2 games, my mum and dad came with me. I subsequently won. In fairness, Dad did buy a couple of bottles of fizzy to fill the big cup up. I've actually got a picture of that somewhere. I must dig that out. And it leaked. But then a few days afterwards, I realised that the only reason they went was because all his old workmates from the MGs were going to be there, supporting somebody else. So I don't believe that was even because I was there. I don't know if I have got it in here. Can't remember whether it was in this album or another one. Trouble, yeah, there it is. Don't know whether you can see, not the one of that one. That one there, that was the. See, I did have hair. That was the trophy that was I won. Sorry guys, I'm not keeping up with the chat here. No sheep in Liverpool. Is Dan off, is he?
He's got to go to the shop.
Okay, Dan, if you're still there, mate. If we're gone when you come back.
Tough.
Tough. Yeah, basically. Fuck you. Yeah, it was. I did have one auntie, Sean, who knew exactly what was going on. Heather only met her the once, and they had a good chat. So Heather does understand where I come from, where I'm coming from. It was always about the other 2, but there again, you know, I think, well, was I that bad? That's why they couldn't bother. But when a member of the family chirps in to a 45-year-old and says, you know, there's never been a picture of you up in that house. I said, well, yeah, you know. I had 3 times as many trophies for motor racing as my brother ever did for football, yet none of those were put up. They all lived in my own rooms and my own flats when I had them.
I still say we'll find out. We'll find out if yeah, when Uncle Bob dies. See if you're in the will.
Yeah. Yeah. But, but that's enough about me. I mean, these are stories that some of the guys in here have heard already. Yeah. The only thing I'm grateful for is there are people I know that had a lot worse lives and a lot worse upbringings than I did. So rather than feel sorry for myself, I tend to feel more sorry for them. If that kind of makes sense.
And there's those that had the most amazing childhoods. And I mean, look at Harry. We've got Harry in with us today. I mean, he must have had one of the best childhoods growing up. And then it all went wrong. And then his mum dies in a car crash. You can't get worse than that, can you? You've got to feel for the boy and being picked on by that brother of his.
Yeah, I will say, Sean, I didn't have a bad upbringing. They did go without to provide for us. I was the first, obviously. I'm the eldest. I know, as I said, they did go without to provide for us at times. And I saw how hard both of them worked. But on the same score, I was working part-time at 14. And yes, that no money was taken off me then until I started full-time when I was 16. But I paid my way. You know,
Well,
I
look, it's
didn't
on
live
the
there
table.
for free. But yeah, some things just aren't to be. One or two of the family have asked my side of the story over everything because it came to a head when I left me ex-wife and my two kids. Nobody bothered to ask me why I'd left. They just persecuted me for it. And unfortunately, once my mum started to go downhill, my sister has always been a bitch and has always accused me of all sorts. I believe she turned mother against me as well, although mother was like that from when we got separated and divorced. Yet neither of them bothered to ask for my side of the story. So I didn't bother telling them. I thought if they don't want to know, that it's not worth telling them. But my auntie did. She knew the full story, word for word. And she had a different opinion to everybody else. She died, was it last year?
I think it was 2 years ago now.
I'm still in touch with one of my cousins. They did kindly ring me to let me know. Same as me favourite auntie over in Ireland, who died not so long back. So I knew both of them had passed. I obviously didn't go to the funeral because there was people there I didn't want to run into who poke their noses into everything. But even up to this day, I've not had one communication from my immediate family to tell me that either of these two have passed. Although they would have been informed. You know, that's just the way my life was led. That's how they are. So, but I'll leave that there. I don't know. Cool.
Anyway, is everybody ready for Christmas?
Is anybody ever ready for Christmas?
Never.
A bike pro rider from Cambridge. No, Lee, I didn't. I knew a Marcus who moved to Australia who used to ride Speedway. We used to go to the Speedway school together as kids.
I know a Marcus who fell off his bike in front of us.
He's laid up now. He was over there for about 5 years racing pro, and he had an accident and broke his back, I believe. He got married to a friend of mine from the village that I used to live in, and they moved over there, and I lost touch with him once he'd moved. But I did hear that, he had a bad accident, broke his back, had to give up racing. But it was a sport I couldn't really get into, to be honest. I used to get fucking dizzy. But plus there was the subconscious thing about riding a motorbike at 65 mile an hour plus with no fucking brakes. You know, that just didn't kind of sit well with me. But yeah, I did it. We used to ride second half for about a year, I think it was. I used to share his bike. I could never afford my own, and my dad certainly couldn't. But yeah, we used to ride second half, Reading, Oxford. We were the next ones down from the reserves. Grumpy Sapper, good evening, mate. No, you ain't missed much. Me just waffling on as usual. I have put the link up, but I think if Dan had hung around a bit longer, he might have dropped in. But he's gone off to do his shopping. So, and he does struggle to get round to the shop, to the point where sometimes he even gets a taxi. Yeah, and he got a couple of weeks to it. We got a lot going on next week. We got the fucking council have decided that a few days before Christmas they want to come and do the electrical tests on the building, which obviously I've got computers plugged in everywhere. We got fucking Christmas lights. We've got to uncover a lot of the sockets. Hide one that I fitted. Then I've got treatment
haven't found the one that my dad fitted yet.
There's one I plastered over. I got treatment on Tuesday. I think, yeah, Friday's appointment was cancelled. Yeah, Sean, I mean, it's nothing I've hidden, and it's nothing I haven't said before. It's how it is. And to be honest, it's what's turned me into what I am now. I've led my life by my rules, stayed within the law where I can. I've gone where I wanted to go and done what I wanted to do.
You had fun getting to here.
And the other way I look at it now, I mean, me and Heather have been together quite a few years now, as you know. We wouldn't have met if I'd changed anything in the way I led my life. And at the moment, I'm probably the most contented I've been with my life. Put it that way.
Oh, you soppy sod.
Stepper, yeah, mate. Yeah, I have hurt people along the way, but most of them deserved hurting. Yeah, but it's called free thinking, free spirited. You know, live within the law, but play by your own rules. That's right, Lee. No worries, mate. No worries. So I'm just trying to keep up with the chat a bit here.
Sean, you've got to wait for them to get old.
Yeah, you know all them saggy bits as old sods get. Yeah, they're the bits that are full of testosterone, and you can't get them any further from your body. The biggest thing with me used to be the adrenaline. That's why I used to do so many dangerous sports, or what are classed as dangerous sports. Not as far as bungee jumping and that. I used to get my buzz from speed more than anything.
No, I haven't got a supplier for swan, but I know where there's a heron.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Mind you, I haven't been down the brook for a while.
No, we haven't been out walking.
So it might be
still
still there.
time of year anyway.
Oh, come spring, you'll probably see it on the shed again. Getting up 41. Wait till you get to 62, Sean. She still thinks I'm trying to grab her ass when I'm ferreting below the waistband, but I'm not. Sorry, but I know they don't that far.
If I'd have done that for my mum, she'd have gone ballistic. She wouldn't have had room in the freezer.
Yeah, did you see that one, Grumpy? With that immigrant carrying off the swan. I think there was. I saw a still of it, but there is a video out there of it. I mean, admittedly, we used to take the odd duck, but Romanian. Yeah, that makes sense. It's because they were the ones when they first started coming over that were netting carp lakes and putting big gill nets across the rivers and stuff like that and taking the fish because they will eat any fish. Although carp is supposed to be, it's the most expensive fish to stock, but it is essentially a fish bred to eat. They're not indigenous. They were brought over here by the French monks, I think it was. And that's why you used to find them, first of all, in estate lakes or monastery lakes, because that's where they used to breed them for food. And funny enough, in Sicily and many parts of Italy, it's carp is still the traditional Christmas dinner, would you believe?
There's a Scandinavian country as well that likes carp at Christmas.
Oh, there's a lot of countries like carp. Get off, you little bastard. So that little wiggy thing has flown in through the window and it was open. Crawling around all over the screens. I think Dan's out at the moment, Step. He's gone to the shop on a Friday. He normally goes to stock up with his fags and what have you. Panty girdles. I got braces. That's only because, although I'm not drinking and that, the age, the stomach has started to expand a bit, and it did after I had the big operation anyway. So, Lee, would you believe my highest viewed video ever is a fishing one I put up some years back from Silloth when I filmed quite a lot of us fishing on holiday, sea fishing. There was a load of footage from the last couple of years, but we didn't really have any notable catches. And because I have at least 2 cameras running most of the time, and the whole journey up to Cumbria from the Midlands and back as well on sports cameras on the dashboard, it's a lot of footage to go through. And I know for a fact there's only about half a dozen funny bits in there. I did pick one out on the journey, which I put a video out because I hit a truck on the way home. I was rubbernecking and run into a tow bar on a pickup that was in front of me. That was all on camera, totally my fault. Hands up. The guy was really nice. I hadn't done any damage to his, so we just shook hands and went on our way. But I kept the footage anyway, and I did put it in a video. What's that, Stepper, if you're a mod?
Grumpy said, can you share links? And I've just gone back. Mads? Only Mads or Roger can post it.
Only the mods can post links, I'm afraid, Grumpy. Obviously, because we don't know what the links are to.
What was it you wanted to share?
What was the link to, mate? Who's in there at the moment? Oh, okay.
That's it. Never talking to Stuart again.
Well, I was mod, not a rocker. Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, all it is, Grumpy, is, as you know, I try to run a zero tolerance stream. I don't allow anything up that's going to even lightly to pull
but
the channel
it's
down.
a rule in all chats. You have to be a moderator or the channel owner.
No, I can change it.
You can?
Yeah, and I can do it in the comments on the videos
yeah,
as
but
well.
then you're opening yourself up to anybody posting anything.
People
So
post links to porn and stuff like that, and that's why I don't let it go up.
The standard setting is nobody lets you post a link.
Yeah. Although I did have a jacket out with the bikers. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, I didn't see much of it because I was very young through the 60s. Apparently, my father was down in Brighton in 63, although I was probably only 2-3 years old, born in 61. So, yeah, because he was a bit of a rocker, and quite a few of my uncles went apparently as well. But by the time I'd got into the bike seriously, there wasn't really that animosity between the mods and the rockers anymore. I saw them as another set of two wheels on the road that abide and fight for the same laws as we did on the motorbikes. Yes, we used to rip the piss out of them a bit. Obviously, hair dryers and the like. But there was one, I mean, we did it as a joke and we did sort it out afterwards. I don't know whether my mates in here, he'll remember, but some of my mates were in the Royal Engineers and they were based at Tidworth. Now, on a Wednesday night, I used to have a nice ride across the Berkshire Downs. It was only about an hour ride. And I used to ride across and have a beer with them in the evening in a pub over there. And there was probably 20 of us there, bikes all lined up in the car park, sat on the benches outside having a beer. And a scooter pulled up. Said hello as he walked past, parked it near the bikes. He'd only gone in and got himself a beer. And by the time he'd come out, we'd actually dismantled his scooter and had it laid out in bits on the car park. And he just burst into tears. But in fairness, the lads did buy him a beer and we did put it back together for him. But it was the look on his face and people that were sat outside watching. It was absolutely hilarious. And if my mate Andy's in here, if he's in the background, he'll remember that. I can't remember the name of the pub.
You're just a bully.
But yeah, it was. Yeah, to me, it's not something I would want to ride. I've always considered them tiny little wheels they got on them things as a liability. Yeah, there wasn't any of that back in our day, Beardy. Literally, even any pads you had were made of leather and foam. Red Rain, good evening, bub. Happy Friday to you as well. My cousin used to go on the scooter runs. Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, I've looked at some of the videos of some of the scooter clubs now doing the memorial runs and that to Brighton and places. And it's still quite a big movement in this country. And if you look at the average age of the guys riding them, they're like me, you know?
They were mods.
Yeah, they were the original mods, half of them. Yeah, you go to the motorbike shows and that now. I mean, you'll see scooters alongside motorbikes in there. You know, you got to remember there wasn't many of these what we call mopeds about back in them days. You know, you had things like the Rally, or what was it called? The Rally Runabout, something like that. Yeah, Quadrophenia did have a huge impact on reviving the scooter scene. And it also, in a way, revived a lot of the music from that era as well, Grumpy. If you remember that there was quite a few groups that not came back out of retirement, but quite a few groups that followed that sort of genre. And it's probably the film where, oh God, Leslie Ash looked at her best, shall I say. But it was, you know, that's what it was like back then. You know, you wouldn't even think about getting on your motorbike without your big boots and your big white sea socks.
Everything had tassels. For
Yeah, oh yeah, you had to, if you had tassels, that was a very expensive jacket back then. And then you had certain people that fixed the end of bloody spark plugs to them, so they whip around and slap you to death. Huh.
Well, I was only ever pillion. I was only ever pillion, so I never took anybody on the back. I was either on my own or pillion, so...
Yes, Grumpy. That's what I said. I mean, you know, I've seen her in all sorts of programs, and I reckon that's when she looked her best. That was all. Put it this way, I'd have climbed over Toya to get to her. But yeah, you know, even down to the scenes of the pill popping and that. Yeah, it was like that back then. You know, and it carried on through the 70s, because I remember seeing that and being fucked up at the odd gig through Tabs. 180 Vespa, yeah. I mean, you look at them racing them, and some of them aren't slow. I've even seen them doing dirt racing on them. I mean, that's absolutely hilarious. It's actually warmed up here, Sean.
That's because the heating's on.
No, I mean outside. Yeah, the last few days it has been very, very cold, but today it's kind of warmed up a couple of degrees. But yeah, the Vespas are still very, very popular over in Italy and Sicily. And, oh, is it Mexico where they still build them? Yeah, a lot of those sort of people are Grumpy. I mean, when we used to do security at the festivals, I mean, you know, you didn't get to speak to them for long, or if you did, it was only very, very briefly. But most of them were quite happy to shake your hand and, you know, spend a second or two with you, just to have a quick chat. One or two I found very, very ignorant. Mainly radio personalities that used to DJ in some of the clubs down in Newquay. In particular, Chris Evans. He's a horrible, arrogant little ginger bastard he is. He nearly got punched by one of the doormen in there. Yeah, stepper. I mean, I'd literally back in the day, if it had 2 or 4 wheels, I'd try and race it somehow. Yeah, the Lambrettas are still going. That's this one time thing. I disagree with you there, stepper. The fastest 125, I believe it was it a Honda?
I will find out.
It was one of the older Grand Prix bikes when they used to race 125s.
What are we talking, 0 to 60 or top speed?
Well, you go for top speed, innit? Back in the day, Grumpy, we were always breaking down and getting picked up or having to fix it on the side of the road. Customary, the Spider. But 8-leg drive don't get you up the side, does it?
Top 6 fastest
quarter mile. Yes. That I can believe. I haven't been to Pod for quite some time. But when you think that you've got Volkswagen Beetles with engines that are that well tuned, probably well hyped up on CO2, nitrous, that are actually faster than some of the big ball racing V8s. Top 80. Well, everybody says the X7 was the first 200cc road going two-stroke to break the ton. Well, around the same time, the LC Yamaha did as well. But before that, there was one called the Suzuki Hustler, which looked a bit like the 500 GT. And we did actually get a ton out of one of them. And that was matched against, I think it was as one of the Kawasaki's, one of the big ones, just to make sure that the speedo was a bit more accurate. And that is going back to the 70s.
In the scooters, a Vespa Primavera is number 5, but it doesn't give
who's the fastest?
The top speed. 6 of the top fastest, because it doesn't give top speed. Overall bike, there is no scooters because it's a Suzuki RG125, the Yamaha TZR 125.
Yeah, they're racing bikes.
Yeah, but they are the fastest 125s. But if I look at scooters, the Vespa Primavera comes in at number 5. Everything above that is newer.
Kagera Racing, yeah.
So
I had a very nice HRC 900, Honda Racing Company 900. Unfortunately, I stuffed it into the back of an Escort down in Newquay. But I've never been one for out-and-out fast bikes. I've had a few, but I prefer cruiser. Loafer, good evening, mate. The T250L. Good evening, Matt. Yeah. I mean, mate had the GT500 two-stroke, and he actually converted that into a production race bike, and that performed quite well. And back then, what did he go up to then? Because he stepped up a big way. Packet McNabb Kawasaki. It was a 650, I believe, if I remember rightly. And he took it out to 700 and took that racing. But he used to race a lot of vintage bikes as well.
But yeah, the list of fastest 125s now is all race bikes.
But see, like Lee's just put there, the RD, the Yamaha. Yeah, you'll be surprised the money these things go for now. You know, they're classics. And unfortunately, two-stroke by its very being isn't an engine that used to last over time. They were renowned for it. MZ125. I had the 250. My mate used to race one, Moo. He had a bike shop down in Oakhampton, down in Devon. He's passed now. He died of cancer a few years back. And he actually used to race the MZ250s. There was a race series for him. They had expansion chambers on them and little fairings and all sorts. I had what was it? It was a trial bike, a CZ. And it was one of the weirdest things you'd ever seen because the kickstart was actually the gear lever. It was like a double the size gear lever, and you pressed it in on a ratchet, flipped it over backwards, started the engine, flipped it back forwards, and then it worked as a gear lever again. That was very strange. the fizzy. Now, I've looked at some of them on the internet, Grumpy. Some lads, they're always trying to track their old ones. And a good one, would you believe, will go for between £7,000 and £8,000. I mean, my one back in that day, I stayed away from the Japanese. I went with a Gilera Cross, which within a month was blown up. And I welded the pedals to the frame and fitted an 80cc motocross engine in it. That was a little bit of a street hooligan, that thing. Friday beer o'clock. Yeah, if anybody's interested, I said before, for those of you that have joined later, I think the Rev's going to go live tonight as well. He has said something about it in today's stream, so keep an eye out for that. Should be a good night in there. And obviously Dan's stream as usual on Sunday. And this week will be, where are we?
22nd?
Yeah, this week will be Dan's last one for this year. He may be popping up somewhere over Christmas. But at the moment, as far as I'm aware, this will be the last live of the year on a Sunday for Dan.
Yeah, because he's going down for Christmas, so he's not going to be on for Christmas.
I mean, the following Sunday is Christmas Eve, so we're only nearly a week away anyway.
That's not bad.
Yeah. I will go live at some point over Christmas. I'm just trying to think of an appropriate day.
You'll announce it.
Yeah, well, next Friday is near enough.
Well, yeah, see, you can still do a live next Friday.
And I may pop up for an hour on something like Boxing Day, just so everybody can come in and wish everybody Merry Christmas. You've probably already done them on, pardon me, other streams as well. Yeah, he was going to get out of Paz. There was, I think, what's his name? Taxi, he'll be in. Stop rubbing your nipple. I'm getting all excited. I know, Beardy, it's part of the condition I've got with the blood, so I'll get a very dry skin and crinkle. Yeah, I just haven't got time for people like that, Grumpy. I don't entertain them. Yeah, I don't go annoying them, and touch wood, they don't come bothering me anymore. You know, I'm not interested in going in where they go and the drama channels and my chronic exhaust. Christ, let's go back some. The old pressed tin bloody two-stroke expansion chair. What, they did a chrome one, didn't they? Some bacon in the back. Oh, Shan, stop it.
What?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm not saying this in a derogatory fashion. There are people that come in here that quite could possibly be some of them. If I could find out for sure, and if it was, then yeah, they would be gone. But be warned, there are moderators looking in the background as well that don't appear in the stream. Yeah, that's what I said earlier, Beardy. Lee very kindly said that I should have a bigger channel with what I do, and I thanked him for that. And many people have said the same. But because most of us are part of a bigger and wider community anyway, you know, I'm always happy with what I've got in it. Anything with bacon is good, Sean.
Cheese roll?
Anything with bacon. Eh?
Cheese roll and bacon.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that what we're going to do tonight? Is it?
I did say to you earlier.
Cheesy top rolls with bacon. Yes.
I did say to you earlier you could have that if you wanted it. You ignored me.
Now you've told me that, I want to shut down.
I fry the bacon. I get streaky bacon and fry it till all the fat comes out and it goes nice and crispy.
Oh, yes.
And then I use the bacon fat to do me roasties.
Bacon with bacon, best way to eat it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Why would you not miss Dan then, Lee?
Because he likes to be there for Dan. Rev's lives are variable. Some of them are absolutely brilliant and some of them are rubbish. But Dan normally covers a variety of subjects. So,
you know, the way I run mine, yes, I will talk about relevant topics, relevant news. What's in the news is what's happening. But to me, going on a live has always been about a release, having a bit of a giggle, having a laugh. And sometimes they do get a bit serious. Dan is kind of a mixture of both. You know, we have the call-ins. They both do call-ins. I don't. One, because I don't have the facilities for it. And I certainly won't have Skype after some of the interesting videos and phone calls and messages I used to get on there from a certain type of lady. Not just one, bloody loads of them. So, and it got annoying, so I deleted it.
Got annoying that you kept turning them down.
Oh, come on. You saw the sort of one that was putting in them bloody videos. Do you think they'd be interested in me?
Do you think those photos were them?
No, exactly.
It's funny you blokes get them. I've never had any of them.
Yeah, that is kind of weird, isn't it?
There's a lot more women do that on Facebook than men. And I don't mean that because it's me. I don't know any. I mean, Donna's never had those sort of things.
Yeah, yeah, you get them on Facebook. You know, they're up there all the time. You know, follow me, and usually it's a picture of a camel toe, shall we say? And I'm like, well, I don't look at you. I don't click on you. Why the fuck do you keep recommending this shit, you know? And if you try and block them all the time, the more you block them, the more they put up. So I tend to just ignore them. When you start doing merchant company. No, mate, I've right from the day one when I set my channel up, I said I will never, ever make any money on it. I will never, ever ask for any money. I do it because I want to. I do it because I believe I do reach a few people. And if I reach a few people and a few people see the truth, then that's worth any money to me.
And I keep him to living in the standard of living he's become accustomed to.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to make money off people like that. You know, I mean, people with bigger channels and overheads. Yeah, if they need money to keep their channel going, if they're traveling, you know, it can get expensive. But as I said, I had a very nice subscriber donated a computer to me because my laptop wasn't up to most of what I was trying to do. Last time I went to visit Dan, he very kindly gave me 2 of his old screens. If I do buy anything, it's usually secondhand, charity shops, or if it is new, it won't be expensive. I get the cheapest, not the cheapest, but you know, I don't pay silly money for something that I don't need to. And basically, I'm just based in the corner of the living room. Yes, I've got 3 cameras. One works when it feels like it. The one I'm using now again was donated by Dan. He had some old ones. And the other one cost me £8.50. Heather pays for the Wi-Fi. Microphone 20 quid, and one light from a charity shop, and one that the granddaughter broke that I managed to bodge up and get working again. Oh, and I've got a couple of other lights over there that I use when I'm filming from there on the videos, and that's it. Literally, that's all I've got. I'm in the Midlands, Sapper.
Beardy, I think you've got the figures wrong, because the one got 7, the one got 3, and I can't remember what the guy got for obstruction, but it wasn't 41.
No. I'll just read.
Might have been 41 when he rattled them all off, but some of them were concurrent, and then they got sentencing reduced for some reason.
Yeah, Sean. I mean, even the microphone, I've got my own stand for it, and that came as part of a kit with the microphone stand. And one of the subscribers, I put it out there, look, you know, does anybody need a microphone stand? It's brand new. I don't want it. I ain't never going to use it. And somebody got in touch with me, said their son would love it, as they were setting up a gaming computer for him. So I posted it off to them. You know, anything I don't need that Heather doesn't need upstairs for her computer, I try and pass on myself. You know, it's not the best of gear, but if it's something that somebody hasn't got that they can use, then I always put out, yeah, I've got this if anybody wants it. I'm not West Country originally, Grumpy. I'm Berkshire. But I spent more of my life in the West Country than I did in Berkshire. Yeah, we go through bypass it now when we go down to Heather's brother's cottage down in Wales, but we haven't been there for a few years now.
Pre-COVID, toilet roll scare.
Well, it was literally, wasn't it? Yeah, the lockdown started
as we got back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a lot quieter since they built the bypass, Grumpy. We actually like going round the back way, the old road that goes up across the old sheep trails and across the hills and comes out the other side. No, there was nothing wrong with what the laptop did resist, but I was running an extra screen on it, so I was looking at 2 different size screens. If I wanted to bring anything up, the streams would break up because it just didn't have the power and the memory to do it. But this one, I could have 4. Well, I've done it in the past. I've had 4, 5 streams open at one time here when I've been monitoring the protests and things like that, and haven't had a problem. It also makes it a bit easier for the editing and stuff like that, where I film directly onto the computer now, ready for editing, rather than store it elsewhere, then put it on the computer and then rework it. It's just made everything a lot more easier for me. And at my age, the more simpler things to do, the better. But as I say, I'm still really learning. You know, I try and learn something every day on here. You know, even if it's press that button and see what that does. Because now I know I can go back and undo anything I've done at the press of a button. I'm a bit more confident with it. We don't usually, Grumpy. There are a few close friends that we will post them through, and obviously the family, when they turn up, get given one.
Don't know why I bother. Because they don't get them till Christmas Day, and they take them down not long after.
Yeah, Grumpy, I do. I mean, when I had my appointment at the hospital, the only time I've ever got a lift round there was last time for the blood test, because I was running late. I forgot when the bloody appointment was, so I had to drop me off. But I do try and walk around a lot. If I need anything from the shop, I will take the time to walk up. Yeah, same as Dan, I have to have a few breaks on the way. And some days I just don't feel I've got the energy to do it. But when I do get up on a day where I feel like I've got a lot of energy, then I do try and use it. I do try and move around. I don't always just sit in the chair. I will get up and start walking around, because I've got to keep my circulation going with the blood thinners. But in this weather, it is a bit of a struggle with the temperature, because I've got arthritis as well in several places. But yeah, I do miss being active. I mean, I used to walk behind a bloody mower for 8 hours a day in the summer, and mountain biking at weekends. Obviously, that all went out the window. Not directly after the bypass and smashing my shoulder up, but I found I was getting more and more fatigued, aching. I was still out riding during lockdown as well. I did go out for a couple of rides, but once the stroke had hit, I got no chance. Back in March last year, I had no chance, and to even stop myself thinking about it, that's why I sold my downhill bike. I have still got a hardtail out there and a load of others, but yeah, no chance of me riding them again, or very, very little. Yeah, Grumpy, it's the same as presents, isn't it? It's not what you give, it's the meaning behind them. I can remove that now. I think everybody's seen that. And I've always said that goes back to what I said when we were kids. It didn't matter what you got, whether it was a piece of fruit in a bloody stocking with a little present in there. You were grateful for it. And at times you were grateful to actually see food on the table, or a nice Christmas meal. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, it's regressed to the same thing now. There's a lot of people out there that won't be able to have a Christmas dinner. There won't be any presents under the tree for the kids.
But I remember as a kid, my dad was given a turkey for Christmas from work. And it was a huge thing.
See you, loafer.
But it meant everybody got at work, got a Christmas dinner. All they got to find is some veg.
Yeah, I can remember Dad winning a Christmas cake on a raffle, and he swapped it for a turkey because we didn't have a turkey for Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, and like I say, there are people out there this year that are going to be in the same boat, that can't put a meal on the table, or very little on the table. And the worst thing is, there'll be more and more adults skipping a meal this Christmas to make sure their kids get one. No, I also find that very disturbing. Yeah, exactly, Sean. I mean, back then, if you had, say, more than half a dozen little presents, you can guarantee they came from the cheapest shop possible. They were cheap and nasty things, but you were grateful for having them. You know, there weren't none of this, I want £100 bloody game thing or a £90 pair of trainers and stuff like that.
But
You'd never think of asking back then.
Oscar, what is he now?
Evening, Michael.
10-year-old wants one of these vision display things, 500 quid worth.
Yeah. And then if they break them because they are very fragile, oh yeah, we can buy a new one. Well, no. Yeah, I did, Sean, as I said the other week. There was quite a few Christmases down in Cornwall where I was on my own and I just spent the day out on the rocks fishing. Take a couple of cans of beer, not too much where I'd get pissed and fall in. But yeah. You know, you get the old walker coming round after they'd eaten their dinner and like, what are you fishing on Christmas Day? Well, yeah, what else is there to do? Pubs are shut.
Shops are shut.
Shops are shut. Yeah, I'm not saying I didn't get invites. Plenty of my mates, you know, they're more than happy to have me round for a Christmas dinner, and I did go round a few times to some of them. But
well, we've got a friend that always spends Christmas on his own, but he knows he's welcome here anytime at all. Even if it's Christmas Day, he's welcome. If he decides he doesn't want to be on his own, that's fine. But that's what he wants. So, yeah, leave him to it.
Yeah, he likes to hibernate for 3 weeks, 3 weeks over Christmas. He's only round the corner and he knows he's always welcome here. He could even come for dinner if he wanted, but he won't. He just prefers to be on his own. But like I say, I don't really think, well, they don't. The kids don't realise how much people struggle to give them these expensive bits of tech and stuff like that. And they certainly don't respect what they're given. I've seen that. You know, it's...
Zappa, I hope that's the memories that my grandchildren have. That Christmas with Nanny and Grumpy in the corner was... Well, it is their Christmas. It's been their Christmas every year.
And I don't have the computer on here Christmas Day. I might go on first thing in the morning before anybody's up to say Merry Christmas to those I've got to say it to. And then the computer goes off for the day. Yeah, it's their time. You know, Heather gets to spend a lot of time with them. I can tolerate them and I do spend as much time as I can, but
it's not going to take them long to open the presents this year.
No. They'll be gone earlier.
Heather's got one.
But it's nice the fact that we do sit down to the meal as a unit. Everybody sits down and we do eat together.
Well, we can get most of us round the table.
Yeah. But who would a 6-year-old phone? Well, I can tell you, Stuart, that one's a lot older than 6 years old.
No. He's mistyped. His partner is giving her old phone to the 6-year-old grandson.
Oh.
Who would give a 6-year-old a phone? Well, yeah, I can't remember how old my grandkids were, but they seem to have lived with them forever. But they were only ever given cheap ones.
That was one of my old jokes, Lee. Yeah. The father-in-law promised me an acre of land and a cow. I'm still waiting for the land. I mean, I could talk about with some of the old Cornish ones, but they get a bit close to the mark at times.
Christmas is for children.
Yes.
And it's grandparents that can put more into it because it's different. It's different Christmas with grandparents. When it's Christmas with mom and dad, whatever. I don't know as it's the same. Christmas is for families, and I feel for people that can't do it, that have to be alone, not because they want to, but because they haven't got anybody to share it with. Yeah, I know what you mean, Stuart, and I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't give a latest phone to a 6-year-old. There's enough cheap ones out there that are a few years old.
We got
30
two or
quid.
three down there that they broke that we were
Yeah.
going to get repaired.
Yeah. Would you paid 30 quid for one off
Yeah.
for a second phone?
I've had that one since I started my channel. I paid 30 quid for it, and it's still got the original battery in it, and that's an old S5.
But that would be okay for a 6-year-old, and save the latest one for when they're a bit older and will look after it and won't smash it within a week.
She's got a more modern phone than me, and it's only the S7. But it does everything we want. Why do we need to go out and pay £1,000 for the newest model when those do exactly what we want? Yeah. If you want to actually buy some of the new phones that are coming out in this country now, they're well over £1,000, Lee.
About 10 years ago, Lee, Roger said he would get me a phone for Christmas, a new phone, and I went up into the town and looked round these car phone warehouses and things like that. Didn't want a contract, I just wanted a phone. I got nothing for Christmas last year.
Yeah, I mean, we did that. We used to go and pick the vegetables up in the fields at harvest and store them. Luckily enough, we lived in a farming community. So if you wanted a good lump of meat, you didn't go to the butcher. You went straight to the farmer, because 9 times out of 10 back then, they were doing their own. And yes, there was always the odd few pheasants around. And I must admit, I did drop the odd few pheasants and rabbits on people's front doors on the way home around Christmas time sometimes, but not saying where I got them, but they weren't full of shot, put it that way.
You found them dead?
Yeah, they'd actually look like they'd been scared to death. Tesco's, yeah. It's amazing that nowadays that there's still kids out there that have never been to a farm or seen a real farm animal. I mean, this goes back years ago. I mean, I remember, I think he was either a 9 or a 10-year-old lad that had never left Newquay, never been on holiday anywhere. And he was amazed the first time he saw snow. He'd never seen snow before, only on telly or in pictures. Yet they used to get snow regular on Bodmin Moor, 20 mile up the road. He had never seen it in Newquay.
It's been snowing in Newquay the last few years.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, we don't do a turkey, Lee. We do 3 different types of meat, usually including a turkey crown.
Breast. Crown is
Yeah, you got to get the operator to plug it in the boxes. Hello. It was a big wooden box strapped to the wall
with a handle on the side that made the bell ring.
Yeah, you had to crank it up. It was a hell of a job trying to make an international call. Well, that was bad enough on the bloody dial phones trying to get an international call through. None of this fibre optic shit and satellite like you get now. It was the transatlantic cable. I mean, how many of you in here can remember having a phone number with only 3 digits? Bittersweet, good evening. We've only got about another half hour to run, but welcome. Yeah, I can remember the first home phone that we had as kids only had 3 numbers. BlackBerry turn it on once a month. Well, actually, Stuart, Lee, until I stopped riding the mountain bikes, that was the one I used to carry with me when I went mountain biking. An old Samsung A300. Because it was small in the pack, it didn't have a screen to get broken. And it still works now. Still got the original battery. I've still got the original car charger and 240-volt charger for it, and the leather case.
And the SIM fits.
And the SIM fits in there, yeah. But, oh, you've been listening a while. Yeah, fine, bittersweet. I know that there are quite a few out there of my subs that, as I said before, they just like to sit in the background and listen. 1 or 2 of them drop in at the end of the stream, just to say hi and thank you. So I know they've been there. I've never had a problem with that. And we've probably got some of the other type lurkers in the background are there as well. But I always look at the numbers and there ain't that many of them. We couldn't afford a phone. No, we didn't originally, Sean. And it was probably the best part of 3/4 of a mile to get to the phone box. And when you did get there, if the call fucked up, it didn't matter how many times you pressed button B, you didn't get your money back.
We had a phone because my dad was on call from work. So I had to have a phone, but it was a party line with the house next door. You would pick up the receiver and find they were on the phone.
Yeah, you could. You could pick the receiver up and butt in on somebody else's call because they'd plugged you into another line. It used to be hilarious.
No, it was a party line. Shared line, one line.
Oh, no, we never had a party line. We were posh. We had our own.
One line into 2, and then split to 2 houses, phone in each house.
Yeah, the A and B buttons on the phones, way before the new ones. I do resist, actually. I'll get up early in the morning, see the kids through, we have the dinner, and then, to be honest, I normally spend 3 or 4 hours at least upstairs laying on the bed watching telly because the cat likes to get away from everybody. And she gets separation anxiety, shall I say, if I walk out the room. Is Harry off, is he? Here, Harry, you off? So it's starting to get to the stage where I'll keep going for now, where my eyes start to go out of focus, where I've been looking at the screens too long. Phone talk through toilet rolls with a bit of string. Yeah, we used to do it with baked bean cans. We used to be out the back beating hollow logs, Beardy. And if it was windy, then you start sending the old soap signals. Grumpy left, did he? All right. Take care, Supper. Hopefully we'll see you next week, mate. But the thing is, him and Murph are out in Dubai, and it's getting on for late evening time out there now, I think it is. Yeah, another 25 minutes and I'll be finishing up anyway. Bittersweet. I normally kill it by 7, and that gives everybody time to have a bit to eat, sit and have a smoke, whatever, before everybody fires up their evening streams, usually around 8 o'clock. Like I'm almost sure Rev's going live tonight. I don't know who else will be. I think Paz is going to jump in with him as well. And possibly Winston Taxis as well. Look how sad we all sound. Sean, it's very, very rarely you'll see me sad.
We just like reminiscing.
Yeah, you know, I've had a varied and interesting past, and I like to remember it.
Oh, Beardy, we are witty today, aren't we?
Well, I was born in the same area.
What? As the Morse code inventor.
Oh, Morse. Sorry, I thought you meant Inspector Morse.
When Roger was young, Mort
Or Moose,
was
as I call him.
state-of-the-art technology, Morse code.
Yes, Sean. And some of us can remember the even older days. That's always been the issue. But, you know, anything I've learnt through all those years that I feel worth passing on, I do try.
But hopefully in 30 or 40 years, somebody will be looking back now and going, thank God we got over that, we got through that, and look what we did. And
yeah,
it wasn't, let's hope that they're saying it's worse, aren't saying it's worse now than it was now. If that makes sense.
That didn't make sense at all for me.
Future person saying it's worse now than it was in 2023. You don't want that. You want them looking back and actually going, those were the hard years, but we got through it. Like the 70s and the power cuts and the 80s and the Margaret Thatchers and we got through it.
Trouble, I believe we've ended up where we are now because everybody wanted convenience. They didn't want to do the hard way of getting things, doing things, earning things. Everything had to be a convenience. Like Tupperware, plastic, it was convenient, it's modern, it's hip. And again, like the government, when they implement something, nobody thought of the long-term effects or the usage of these things. You know, I mean, when Tupperware first came out, recycling was you never heard of it. It didn't exist. Yet, as we know from experience and age, that, yeah, Tupperware was a brilliant thing, but after half a dozen washes, and they started getting scratches in there and food was discoloring it and stuff like that, it was a waste of time. Yeah, some of my youth was, Stuart, believe me. You know, I mean, half the kids today, you ask them what a mangle is, they wouldn't have a bloody clue. What is a washboard? You know, they probably think it's a gaming tool or something. What instrument did you play? Well, we only had the spoons or a washboard and thimbles. Can you imagine how that would confuse a fucking kid today? Yeah, we used to have scanners and CBs back in the daily.
I know how to annoy you now. Christmas Day, I'll get the kids to play the spoon.
Yeah, a bit of the old. Nearest thing you had to a guitar was a broom handle with a bit of string on a fucking cardboard box or a wooden box.
You could tell when there was a spoon player in the house because in the drawer were two spoons that were flat.
Yeah, straighten the handles out so you can swing them better. Oh, yeah.
No. The bowl on the spoon had been flattened where they'd been knocked together.
Oh, where some of them cut them down as well when they use them on the washboards.
Spoons on a washboard?
Yeah. Okay. You've never seen spoons used on a washboard? You look up videos.
I'm going to make the Blaze washboards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether you remember, and I was a great one for Airfix kits. And there was nothing better than going into Woolies and seeing rows and rows of them and then getting disappointed as you walk back down the road till you got to the ones you could afford, which were usually the ones in the little plastic bags rather than boxes. Yeah, well, even our ice cream came in cardboard boxes, Sean, didn't it?
Everything was recycled. You gave the milk bottle back to the milkman. You
Yeah.
took the pop bottle back to the shop. Everything was reused, recycled.
And you used to get paid for doing it.
The moment they stopped, deposit on a bottle.
Thank you very much, Lee. Have a good weekend. Stay safe out there. It's a strange world. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, I try to keep it a bit of fun. Yeah. We do talk about serious things as well now and again, but to me, as the title says, it's a catch up with friends from the channel. It's a chance where we can do a bit more than just drop a comment on a video or something like that. And I do class just about all of you as friends. I mean, I've got to know you over the channel. One or two of you I've met in public and, met in person. And I'm going to be meeting a few more in January when I go down to see Rev with Pat. Paz will be there and quite a few of the others as well. So I'll get to meet them as well. But, as everything, YouTube's exactly the same. Anybody can be anonymous. You take from it what you do. But I see most people I chat to as friends. Those that I don't consider friends, basically they've been thrown off the channel. So, and there are friends out there I haven't met yet. And some of my old mates from back home have popped up as well, which is absolutely brilliant. That's made my year getting back in touch with some of they.
Don't I know it?
Yeah, you can hear a whole new load of stories about me, can't you? You've heard from my middle years down in Newquay. Now you can start to hear about my youthful past, which at times is worse than what you've already heard. So be ready for that.
Yes, Mikey, we will.
Yeah, we will meet up at some point, mate. Don't you worry.
Oh, Mikey, I got that game for my grandson, the second one. So thank you for that. I'll let you know if he likes it.
Yes, Moo, absolutely, because the bottles weren't recycled. They were rewashed and just used again. They weren't ground up and turned into new bottles. They were actually physically washed. And those that were reusable were reused.
Well, I've just drunk that. At one point, that would have gone back and been refilled. Why would that have to be broken down and reused in something else?
Well, I can't remember any pop bottle that you could return back then where there wasn't some sort of reward for it. Even the Coke bottles, you had a reward, you could get a little bit back on.
Every glass bottle you got money back.
I've met a few, Sean. Obviously, Dan and the crowd that we used to meet up in Liverpool. I've actually got one. I don't think he's active in here anymore, but he actually lives up the top of the road. He's a music producer. And believe it or not, my the dustbin man that comes here, he's become a good mate. He's also a subscriber on my videos. He doesn't join in the lives, but I know he watches the videos. And he's a brilliant guy. I mean, I'm probably the only one up the street who doesn't have to go out to the footpath to retrieve the bins. They always bring them back up and put them up under the window for me if I don't go out. So, yes, resist the jamboree bags, the little sherbet dips and the chewies and the blackjacks. Yeah, I can remember all them. In fact, we do always have a tub of retro sweets in. Love hearts, refreshers, them horrible things that turn your tongues purple. Drumsticks, sticky lollies that fall off the cardboard stick and it breaks before you get to. Oh, I've just noticed there's a bar of chocolate in there. Where did that come from?
What bar of chocolate?
A Freddo.
It was in the bag that I tipped in there.
I thought she was sneaking chocolate past me again. No, that's for the adults, Sean.
It's for everyone. You come to visit, you want a sweetie, you can have a sweetie.
Oh, when Lost Souls, I mean, she's not in here today. When she turned up with Danny Austin, his little face when he saw the jar of retro sweets over there, because he loves them.
Well, we were talking about them, weren't we? About how the fact that he was now back over here, he was eating so many things he hadn't had for years. And I went,
yes, Lee, be very careful. I'll let you get away with that one. Only because I didn't fucking notice it, because I've been pissing around with the sweets.
And he went home. Yeah, I'd let him off. And he went home clutching a Swizzles lolly and a drumstick and a refresher. And he thinks I'm a good nanny.
Sadly, I can't eat a lot of them due to the lack of teeth. Particularly the lollies that, you know, the stick, as I say, melts away through me gums before I even get to finish the lolly. So I should hope not, Lee. I try to be courteous and have a bit of a laugh with anybody. But, you know, yeah, I've been involved in drama on the internet before, and that's why I run the channel like I do now. I just got fed up of it. It was getting very nasty. Someone very deliberately, although they denied it, insulted the lovely Mrs. W, and that was it. I totally lost the plot. Hence, any channels like that now, I don't bother with. I don't go near them. I haven't got the time of day for them. I've got nothing to say they want to hear. They've got nothing to say I want to hear. So we leave it at that. And that's one of the reasons why I don't talk about them in here or name any of them, because I can't be. I won't give them the time. You're just giving them what they want, and that just brings more drama. And at my time of life, believe me, I got enough drama in my own body and my own head without putting up with anybody else's. Yeah, it's just not worth it, Sean. To me, it doesn't make a channel a nice place to go. You know, as I say, I come on. If I'm in person like this, other than a video, then I'm doing it for fun. I like to have a bit of fun. And it's the only way I get to chat to people now, because I'm not out long enough to chat to people. I'm not terrified of crowds. I just don't like them. I've worked in them all my life, and I just like a quiet life, basically. In fact, except for the fishing, and when we're on holiday, this is probably the most exciting thing I do. Well, there is one other thing, but we won't go into that because it's before the watershed. Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly, mate. Yeah, and again, that's why I only do when people do come up. That's the only reason I have the small panel. It's easier. I won't say to keep control, because very, very rarely have I had to step in with anything like that. But then you don't have the problem with people talking over people all the time. Poor Dan, on his live, as soon as anybody else talks, for some reason his mic cuts out. So Who are we talking about there? Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Game and train driver. If he doesn't like the game, he's not going to enjoy being a train driver. You know,
Well, the first words you got to learn is one out, all out. Yeah, it does me, Sean. I mean, Heather will admit that there's some days here and quite a few days where I am as grumpy as fuck. Nothing works right. Nothing can be done right. And Fridays, it's just a release. It's a bit of a laugh. I do get pent up aggression, not physically. Sometimes that does show through in my videos. As you know, I've quite often lost the plot and gone into a total rant, totally off my notes and all sorts. But it's something I have had to try and curtail because literally with censorship, it's so easy now just to make a slip and they don't fuck around, you lose your channel. That's it. You know, you can't argue with them. You know, they're the law unto themselves. It's not right. And I'm a great one for pointing out to YouTube that by doing what they do, as I say regular, they break their own core value of freedom of expression. And unfortunately, once Ofcom get their shit together, it's only going to get worse. Dude, do you know how much frustrating it is to get the bloody thing working at my age, let alone relieve any tensions? Don't forget I'm on blood thinners, man.
I don't have a problem yet.
No, you don't have any problem
No.
making it work. I have more of a problem making it work on my own.
He likes me.
Let's put it this way. It's something I haven't needed to do for many a year.
And we like a good shout at each other occasionally.
Well, you do need to wink now and again, Moo, just so nothing lands in your eye. You know what I mean? Oh, dear. Right, well, that's 10 to 7 now, guys. And believe it or not, I've got a lovely homemade bacon cheesy roll with some other bits and pieces in it. Did you mention?
It depends what you want in it.
Okay. So unfortunately,
He's going to
Heather's
go
gonna
make
be
me
cooking.
cook.
Yes, High Box. I have noticed that because I do subscribe to him. He has come very close to the mark, but he never steps over it. The only time he gets videos taken down is when other people are reporting him that are doing it maliciously, unfortunately. I mean, he's a lovely guy, Simon. The Rev calls him the word assassin. And he's right. He does use words very well. And some people take exception to it, which is a real shame because I do like listening to the guy and he does make a lot of sense. I believe he's ex-military and I also believe he's ex-education in some form or other. So thank you, Resist. You're more than welcome to come in, mate. And I will put that link up in next week's videos and it'll have a permanent sit in there for you. Just like I do with others. There are one or two in there that I've got to have a bit of a move around in the description anyway, because there's one or two channels in there that aren't there anymore, basically. So they will have to be removed. But as always, guys, absolutely brilliant today. I couldn't ask for a better crowd as usual. I hope everybody's enjoyed it as much as I have. Obviously, my thanks to the lovely Mrs. W, as always, in the background there as tech support, researcher, and some with some very interesting stories at times. But yeah, I hope you had a nice evening and that early evening and afternoon. Hope you have a brilliant weekend. Don't forget Rev live tonight, probably, and definitely Dan live on Sunday night from 8 o'clock. So Boyley's been lurking in the background. Cheers, Steve. I didn't know. He hasn't said anything about being ill, Stuart. I shall have to go and have a look. The thing is, I don't get to see the videos every day. You know, sometimes I catch up with videos like on a Friday morning when I'm not doing my own. So I don't always get to see him on the day. The same with Marty and people like that. So, well, all right, guys, absolutely brilliant. So I hope you all have a good weekend. My thanks to everybody and respects for dropping in particular, as I say, for keeping the stream respectful. And until the next time, or Sunday, for those that will attend, stay safe, stay strong, and stay free. And would you like to say good night, my dear?
I was just about to say, you didn't. You normally say it's good night from me.
And good night from him.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Catch you Sunday or next week.
Take care, guys.